Guys, in this tutorial, we will go ahead and talk about list in more detail. List and arrays are very similar or very same and exactly same in case of Apex programming language. And if we talk about Java, list and array are considered different. In case of Apex, they both are considered very similar. So now you can also create a list by something like this. Using an array notation, we can use this way. The square brackets. Then you can specify the name of the list. And then you can say new list of integer. This is the another way of creating the list. I told you in the previous tutorial that you will come across different ways of creating a list. This is the second way of creating a particular list. Now, last time what we did was we have said something like my list dot of add, and then we went and add the friends. And this is one of the method that we use. We can even define the elements right here at this particular point. The another way of creating the list is like this. You can right away to specify the elements. You can say that I am creating a list of string elements and this is the name of my list. Instead of individually adding each element, you can define all the elements at this place. You can say, okay, I'm adding 1, comma 2, comma 3. So this is the another way of adding a list as well as adding the elements to that list. So this time, if you go ahead and display what is there in the list, you can say system.debug and say list has following items. And you can say plus display this. You can go ahead and this. Yeah, execute. Go to debug only. Yeah. So now you will see that, okay, 1, 2, and 3. And the order in which we have added them at this point, the same order it has displayed. So if we go ahead and put 3 before here, 3 here, and 2 here. So if we do something like this and then add another element here, 4, then what will happen? This is the order in which elements get added in the list. And if we wanted to see the indexing, let's take the marker. Yeah. This is the list. This particular one will go at index of 0. 3 will index of 2. Sorry, 1. And then this 2 will go at index of 2, and at the third index will be 4. So this is the way the elements will get added in the list. And if you are trying to display these elements, this is how they are going to ahead and display. So now if I go back and say execute, then you click on the debug only, it will say 1, 3, 2, and 4. So this is the another way of adding and initializing your list. So let's say now I have another element that I wanted to go ahead and add. You can always say that by using the same add method, my list dot add, and you can specify the next element, let's say 11. So what will happen? 11 will get added after the 4. So this particular string will get added here. So what will be the order? So the first thing, it would be 1. The second element would be 3. The third element would be 2. The fourth element would be 4. And after that, it would be 11. So what will be the index? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is going to be the index. And let me go ahead, and since we wanted to see the new list also, you can go ahead and say system.debug new list has following items. See, always remember the program will get executed from top to bottom. So this first line will get executed, then second, then third, and then the next line. So since we are adding the 11 element after the second line, we are adding the 11 element, means this particular next element is added after this line. So when we try to display it here, the 11 will not get displayed because at that point time you have not added this element. But after you have executed this line, means this line number 3, and then you go ahead and print your list, that will be the time that 11 will be there in the new list, because you are adding the element before displaying your final list here. So always remember the order in which you have written the statements. The first line will get executed, then second line, and then the third line, and then the fourth line. So there will be 2 line will be the output. The first line will not have the element 11 in it, but the next line we have added 11 to it. So which will be this line. So let's go ahead and execute. So if you go back to the debug here, you will see 1, 3, 2, and 4. 1, 3, 2, and 4. That's the output of this line. Line number 2 here. And then the next one new list is, which is this particular line, line number 4. The output is 1, 3, 2, 4, 11. So this is the way of adding the elements. Next thing we have here is, if we wanted to only display one element out of this list. So let's say you wanted to display this particular element, and you know what will be the index. The index would be of this element would be 1. If you remember, I said earlier that this is the order they will get added. 1, then 3, then 2, the way you have written here, then 4, and then 11. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is the index here of the 3? That is 1. So if you wanted to only display, if you want to display the second element, then you can go ahead and say system.debug element at index 1. So what is the element? We can say the element would be my list. Either you can use this method, or you can also say system.debug element at index 1. My list. You can use the get method and then provide the index number. So both of these are going ahead and display 3, but the way is different. This is like an array notation, but I told you array and list are considered same in case of Apex. And then you have mylist.get. Either you can use the get method, or either you can just specify the index number in the square brackets. Whichever is convenient for you, you can go ahead and use that. But the output is going to be the same. So if we go back here and execute, you can see the output. The output is still the same, 3 and 3, because element 3 is at index of 1. But one is using the get method and the other one is using the array notation. Now there is another method to calculate the size of a particular list. The size of a particular list. Size of a particular list. So let's go ahead and use this method also. So right now, if I wanted to go ahead and display the size, at this point, what will be the size? System.debug size of my list. My list dot size. I wanted to display the size of which list? Of this list. What is the method I am using? The size method. So how many elements at this point? You have to remember at this line you are displaying the size. So that time only 4 elements are there. But now at line number 4 you have added another element here. So let's go ahead and copy the same line one more time here. And then I can go ahead and say new size of my list. Now new size of my list, because now you have adding the next element also. You have added another element after this line. So then at this particular point in time, there are only, let me go ahead and get rid of another stuff so that you don't get confused. So how many elements are there in this point of time? There are only 4 elements. So this line will display 4 elements. The size would be 4. Now you have added another element. You have added another element. Added another element. So now what will be the new size? New size will be 5. So now let's go ahead and test it. So the size method will display the size of the list. And now if you go ahead and execute, go to debug only, it will be 4 and then 5. Your list is 1, 3, 2, 4. Because at this point of time, let me go ahead and add 2 more elements here. So I can say my list dot add, I can say, hey, I'm going to add another element, my list dot add, and say cloud birthday. This is my website name. So now I have added 2 more elements. So now let's go ahead and walk through each line step by step. So the first thing is we have added 1, 3. Bear with me if I am repeating couple times because I just want everyone to understand. Then you have 2, then you have 4. So this line has been done. So we have added 4 elements. Now you are displaying the list, so it will display all these 4. Now at line number 3, you are displaying the size. So at this point of time, you only have 4 elements. Then it will only display the number 4. Then you are adding the another element. So that will be added after this. So that will be added at index of 4. Then you are displaying the new size. Now you have the 5 elements, so it will give you 5. Then at line number 6, you are adding another element here, and that is hey. So at line number 6, another element got added. So now you have total of 6 elements. Then you have adding one more element at index of 6, and that is cloud parlay. So now you have total of 7 elements in your list. So now let's go ahead and display the size again. So let me just go ahead and copy this and put it here. Final size of my list. So at this particular line, you have 7 elements. So now if you go ahead and execute, so now go to debug only. First time it was 4, then you have added the element 11, and then you have added 2 more elements. So now it became 7. So these are some other methods that are available in list. Play around with this, add more elements, try to remove elements from the list, try to calculate the next size, try to see the indexes. So play more with this list, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Till then, have a good day. Bye.